Today is Wednesday, June 19th. What to know about today's holiday, Juneteenth. And we'll update you about the intense weather around the country, from heat to the first tropical storm warning of the season. Also, how immigration may impact the federal deficit, and which megachurch leader is admitting to abuse. Plus, why Justin Timberlake was arrested, which company is now America's most valuable, and hint, it's not Microsoft or Apple anymore, and how LinkedIn is embracing AI. Those stories and even more news to know today coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Today's a day to celebrate freedom in the U.S. It's Juneteenth. Remember, the national holiday commemorates the day when the last remaining Black slaves learned they were free on June 19th, 1865. Black communities have been celebrating Juneteenth for a century and a half, but it started becoming universally recognized among all Americans when it was designated a federal holiday in 2021. Now many people will get today off work, and there are street festivals, fairs, cookouts, concerts, and other events planned to celebrate the occasion. This year, the National Park Service is also making entry into all of its sites free for the holiday. Now keep in mind the U.S. Postal Service will be closed today, as well as most banks, but most restaurants and stores will likely be open. The U.S. is now on pace to add trillions of dollars to its national debt, borrowing money even quicker than expected. The Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, aka the CBO, put out a new report this week. It says the U.S. will run a nearly $2 trillion deficit this year, up from its earlier estimate of $1.6 trillion. So what happened to that extra $400 billion? Well, the CBO says there's a few things driving up the deficit. Number one, the Biden administration's student loan relief policies, plus new bills passed in Congress, like the foreign aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. And interest costs and payments keep going up for programs like Medicare and Social Security. Some factors are expected to fluctuate over the next few years, but overall, the debt is expected to rise over the next decade to reach 122% of the country's GDP by 2034. That's the highest level ever recorded. The one thing that could help, immigration. The CBO notes that the recent immigration surge will raise federal tax revenues by $1.2 trillion over the next decade, mostly from payroll taxes immigrants pay on their earnings. It also says that influx will only increase spending by $300 billion, and that the GDP will be about $9 trillion higher than it would be without the surge. Though keep in mind, the CBO is only talking about the federal government here. Many state and local governments are still struggling to deal with immigration growth, since it does put more demand on things like schools and healthcare services. To be continued. As expected, the federal government moved forward with a plan to offer citizenship to undocumented immigrants married to American citizens. President Biden officially announced the new effort yesterday that could impact more than 500,000 spouses who have lived in the U.S. for at least 10 years. About 50,000 children under 21 whose parent is a U.S. citizen will also qualify. Republicans and some of Biden's fellow Democrats, though, have been criticizing the action. Some say it could only encourage more border crossings. Others who have in the past supported this kind of thing say they're against it now because of how much immigration numbers have risen. That said, this action is being praised by immigration activists, many of whom have been upset with the Biden administration over another recent initiative. That one, the order that lets officials quickly remove migrants entering the U.S. illegally without processing their asylum requests. By issuing both executive actions this month, some political strategists say Biden is trying to bring in votes from both sides of the immigration issue. Though others say the mixed messaging could backfire too. Former President Trump's messaging is less mixed. He's promising to ditch Biden's immigration policies on the first day if he's reelected, and Trump is supporting mass deportations. At a rally yesterday, the former president also accused Biden of only trying to recruit new citizens so he'll have more people to vote for him in November. But we should point out it won't work that fast, and the new citizens will not be added to the rolls of eligible voters before the election. Either way, this will continue coming up for this year's voters, as polls show most Americans see immigration as one of the most important problems facing the country. The prominent pastor of one of America's largest megachurches, who was also once a spiritual advisor to former President Trump, has now admitted to sexually abusing a child. Robert Morris is the founder of Gateway Church that expands across 9 campuses in Texas, and he's widely known for his efforts to advance conservative Christian morality through politics and government. Well, yesterday, he resigned from his position as Gateway's senior pastor. It came just a few days after a woman accused Morris of molesting her repeatedly over 5 years, starting when she was 12. and she believes she was not his only victim. In response, Morris admitted to having an inappropriate sexual relationship with her and says he already confessed to church elders back in 1987. But now those elders say even though they knew about the relationship, they did not realize how young the girl was. So they hired a law firm to conduct an independent review. Former President Trump's campaign team also commented to say that even though Morris was on Trump's evangelical advisory board in the past, that he's not involved with the 2024 campaign, and Trump knew nothing about the allegations. For now, Morris has not been charged with a crime. Today is expected to bring even more record-breaking high temperatures to parts of the U.S. For example, Detroit, where it's usually about 81 degrees this time of year, could reach 95 degrees today. Buffalo, New York averages 76 degrees this time of year, but could see a high of 92 today. And Caribou, Maine is actually seeing its first excessive heat warning in history. The feels-like temperatures there are expected to reach 105 today. Meanwhile, out west, 20 large fires are now burning, mostly in California, Arizona, and New Mexico, and thousands of people are under mandatory evacuation orders. Air quality is also being impacted for much of the region. One more weather threat we want to mention is brewing off the Gulf Coast. The first tropical storm warning of this year's hurricane season was issued for parts of southern Texas. The National Hurricane Center is keeping an eye on a storm that's expected to turn into Tropical Storm Alberto today. It could bring heavy rain, flooding, and possibly tornadoes to coastal communities in Texas and large parts of Central America. The Atlantic hurricane season officially began June 1st and will run through the end of November. More news still ahead, but first a shout out to our sponsor, Boll & Branch. If you're trying to get better sleep, it can be easy to get lost in all the options and so-called hacks. But one way to immediately improve and transform your sleep environment is with Boll & Branch. The signature hemmed sheets from Boll & Branch are a bestseller for a reason. I have 2 sets, by the way. They feel buttery soft to the touch and are super breathable, so they're perfect for both cooler and warmer weather. Their signature sheets are made with 100% organic cotton, using the highest quality thread on earth. My husband and I have actually tried a handful of different brands of sheets before we moved homes, and we both chose Boll & Branch as the sheets we loved the most and wanted to keep. We personally have king sheets in both white and the calming color sky. But Boll & Branch signature sheets actually come in 10 versatile colors and all sizes from twin up to California king. So sleep better at night with Boll & Branch sheets. Get 15% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets when you use our promo code NEWSWORTHY at bollandbranch.com. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND branch.com with the promo code NEWSWORTHY for 15% off plus free shipping. Exclusions apply, so see site for details. Now back to the news. Chipmaker NVIDIA hit a historic milestone this week. Investors now say the company is worth more than $3.3 trillion, making it America's most valuable listed company, even ahead of Microsoft and Apple. That's the first time a company other than those two sat atop the list since 2019. NVIDIA has been able to reach those heights thanks to its chips that have become essential tools in creating artificial intelligence systems. The company's stock has more than tripled in value in just the past year. Pop star Justin Timberlake was arrested and charged with drunken driving in the Hamptons yesterday. Police say Timberlake got pulled over when he drove through a stop sign and swerved into a lane of oncoming traffic. Law enforcement say Timberlake performed poorly on a field sobriety test, was unsteady on his feet, had slowed speech, and smelled strongly of alcohol. And he reportedly refused a breathalyzer test. He was held in jail overnight and got released yesterday morning. For now, at least, Timberlake is still scheduled to resume his world tour on Friday, with the next 2 shows planned for Chicago. The MLB is mourning the loss of one of the greatest players in baseball history. Willie Mays died yesterday at 93 years old. His Hall of Fame career spanned from the 1950s to the 1970s. He spent nearly all of those years with the Giants, first in New York and then in San Francisco. Mays is still known for not only his skills, but also his joy and friendliness. In fact, he was nicknamed the Say Hey Kid for the way he enthusiastically greeted others. Tomorrow, the MLB is hosting a game between the Giants and the Cardinals at a historic field where Mays once played. Officials were already planning to honor Mays at that game with an unveiling of a Willie Mays memorial. Since this year's Olympics are being held in one of the fashion capitals of the world, designers are pulling out all the stops for Olympic-bound athletes. Here in the U.S., Ralph Lauren got the job to dress American Olympians for the 9th time, this time for the Paris Olympics. And the designer unveiled this year's Olympic parade looks yesterday. For the opening ceremony, Team USA athletes will be wearing tailored navy blazers with Oxford shirts and ties and regular blue jeans. For the closing ceremony, the team will wear white denim jeans with matching white denim jackets designed with patriotic red, white, and blue accents. The jackets actually kind of resemble a NASCAR racing jacket, giving them a real American touch. Ralph Lauren also designed the Team USA gear, now available for sale. Some of the proceeds will go help support American athletes training for their Olympic moments. The 2024 Summer Games begin next month. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, thanks to our sponsor, Lumi. So we've had some family in town recently, and when I went in for a hug to welcome my sister-in-law, she immediately said, "Oh, you smell nice." And I was surprised because I had been cleaning up the house and definitely did not put on any perfume. Well, sure enough, it was simply my Lumi Whole Body Deodorant doing its job. But don't just take my word for it. Lumi Whole Body Deodorant is clinically proven to block BO all day long. So whether you're the one doing the welcoming or you've got a busy travel day and vacation planned, have Lumi deodorant in your drawer or your travel bag. Lumi Starter Pack is actually perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes that are perfect for travel and on the go, and free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that actually equals over 40% off their starter pack. So use code NEWSWORTHY for 15% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code NEWSWORTHY at LumiDeodorant.com. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. LinkedIn is the latest company starting to embrace more advanced artificial intelligence. And in this case, it could help people searching for jobs. The platform recently unveiled some new AI features, and one of them will actually write an entire job application and cover letter for you. Or you can get it to review your resume or other work you're doing and will give you suggestions. Another AI feature will use more natural prompts to help you look for either jobs or suitable candidates. So, for example, you can search, "Find me a remote marketing job in Detroit that pays at least $100,000 a year." LinkedIn is also rolling out AI personas of a handful of experts you can have conversations with to learn more about business topics. All of these new features are set to roll out in the coming weeks, but for now, they'll only be available to premium subscribers. Of course, LinkedIn has unveiled other AI features before, and LinkedIn is part of Microsoft, which has a big stake in OpenAI. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing the show. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.